Hi, Jenny here. Today I thought we would repot some plants. When I was younger, we used to have a couple plants in our family, and it was my job every week to water those plants. My dad was very good with the plants and also any gardening. I kind of have some of that. I can keep plants alive for pretty long. Don't do too much to them, water them, use some Miracle-Gro fertilizer here and there, and repot them often, I guess, so they don't get the roots tied up. When my parents moved down to Florida to retire, they didn't want to take a lot of stuff with them, including their plants. So I inherited a bunch of those. I had those for a long time, and then I had children, and they had toys. So that took up a lot of the house, and so then I got rid of all of my plants, which was kind of sad because a lot of those, again, were from my family, but that was that time in my life. So now in the last few years, I've accumulated more plants, and I've made plant babies. And so I no longer have a kitchen table, and I've even bought a plant stand, and I have a whole lot of plants. So the good and the bad with that is as the plants keep growing and get bigger, well, then I keep taking cuttings off of them, and I make more, which then I buy more pots, and then I have more plants, and they're still growing and all that. So at this point in time, I have some. I'll show you how I do that with just cutting them. Put them in a glass of water, they grow roots, and then you put them in some dirt. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is planting some of them that I've already rooted, and then we'll take some more cuttings, put them in the water, and go from there. So let's get started. Let's see how well I can show you all of this without jiggling you around too much. But here is the plant stand that I just bought a couple months ago that is full. So of course there too, a lot of my plants are taller plants. So I have a lot of them there. And then I have one of my bigger ones that I put in a really big pot. I had to move to the floor because that one's so big. It's a little better on the table, but it's doing okay right there. So that's where I've got room for it. And then all my plants on the table. So when my daughter broke her wrist a few years ago, she received a plant for that. And then for her birthday, and for Christmas, a couple of her friends got her some more plants. And so then I had those. And then for my father-in-law's funeral, we got one of those baskets that had 5 plants in it. And I separated all those out so that they could grow. And I've got all of these. So the Dieffenbachs are a pretty hardy plant. They're an easy one to grow. The rest of these, I don't even know what these are. I'm pretty sure this is Easter lily. I was told that they are very hard to flower. This one does have another flower on it. This one didn't turn white this time. It stayed green. And fortunately, the leaves of this one also are very, very, very brown running. So I'm going to transplant that into a bigger pot and hope that helps, because I keep getting all nice new green shoots, and they keep growing, and then the leaves end up browning out. And then some of these other plants, I don't know what kind of plant this is. But this one too, this is the mother plant. And then I've made babies, so like that pot there is all from cuttings. In fact, all those. Also, those 2 pots are from cuttings from that one. Those kind of plants I'm pretty good at. And then there are the succulents. That was one of them that my daughter got from a friend. And they're supposed to remain small, low to the ground, but they keep growing. And they got really tall and were falling over, so there too I took off some cuttings. Should straighten you out. I took off some cuttings and I put them in there, and now they're all growing nice and tall too. So they're growing, they're good, they like it. They like my area, but let's figure out what to do with them. And then I just got that plant from a friend. It's one of the business work that I left. I got another plant there. My mom was growing that succulent. It was falling out of the container, so she gave it to me. And that one's been really growing. So let's see what we can do. All right, so of course it's a dreary day out today and it's cold. It's probably only like 40 degrees out here, so we'll move fast. But you know, plants, they don't know no weather. They don't only grow in summer. So we're going to put some rocks in the bottom of the pot. I've got some potting soil mix, and then we'll transfer that plant over into there. Woo-hoo. I used to go around the neighborhood and I'd find rocks around, but it became too hard and I had too many plants, so I bought a bag of river rock. And even though the bottom has holes in it for drainage, I like to put rock on the bottom so that the dirt doesn't cover it all up and clog it up, so that we still actually do have some drainage. Also, it makes the pot a little bit heavier, but do what you can. So there, at least it covers up a little bit. I should get my gloves. I can get potted. How much potting soil I have. I bought gardening mix one time, and I think that stayed too wet in the house in the pots. So make sure you get something that says potting mix. All right, fill that about half full, because you're gonna have the dirt from your plant that you're gonna put in there. Make a little hole in there, do for your plant. At the bottom of here, I'm gonna add some rocks too, so we'll see how this goes. But I'll just try to dump it. It comes out. Oh yeah, here we go. So not too bad. I thought there'd be a lot more roots in here. But, and then figure out where you're gonna want it. I might actually put a little bit more dirt in here. Make it up a little higher. Take your dirt and just scooch it all around. That's about all there is to it. So I like to do this outside, so in case I spill any dirt and whatever, it goes in the grass, or it's all out here, it's not on my kitchen table. When you get it in there, you want to take your fingers kind of around the plant and push it down a little bit, push the dirt around there. So make sure all the roots are covered and it's in there real well. It's not going to move around, so when you start watering, it'll stay and the dirt won't come off from around the roots. It is cold. Okay, so this other pot that I had rocks in there, a little bit of dirt. I'm just going to add some more dirt. I have some plants. So what I usually do, I just have a basic cup of water. And I put some plants in there, and I cut that one off of a different one, and you can see all the roots that are on there. So then all I need to do is put it in the dirt. So I did that with a couple different cups. So I've got that one and I've got these. Sometimes when you put a couple snippings in a cup, the roots are going to end up kind of growing together. I usually then just shove them in there all together. You can try to separate them. You don't want to break off the roots too much. Otherwise the roots might get hurt and the plant may not make it. So I'm going to make 2 holes and I put plants on either side. It kind of gives them room to grow. Grab the plants. Shove them in and cover up the roots. Press down. They're going to kind of stand up. You could also get some plant sticks for some of these that grow taller. I have some of my plants inside. I need more. Okay, this one is a Dieffenbachia plant. These are very hardy plants. These are kind of what I kind of grew up growing. So there are 2 of them here. They grow to be pretty big and strong. So I want those in a bigger pot to begin with. That way I don't have to transplant it too soon. Hopefully I'll see what kind of dirt I have. So there should be the rocks in the bottom of there. That's the one I took the other plant out of. All right, same thing. Put them on either side of the pot. And then the roots are covered. Whew. Chilly out there. Good to be inside. Okay, so I'm going to kind of transplant these 2 Dieffenbachia also. You can see my 2 stalks that are here. Those are what those other 2 plants came off of that I just planted. Actually, these guys blending in amongst my plants. Sometimes they'll actually grow shoots off. They'll start growing again. It almost looks like there's a little green bud coming there. But what I do is just take a glass of water. You want to take any type of a glass vase, something that you're not going to mind, that it's going to get usually some water rings around type of thing, whatever. It's going to get smudgy and all that. So I also have a couple of my drinking glasses. I don't usually use much. And I've done that too because, again, I'm making a whole lot of these and I don't have a whole lot of glasses. So I just take a utility knife and I just chop it off. Now again, they're good. Like I said, these are going to grow kind of bigger and stronger. They kind of have a bend to them and whatever, which are fine. They also need a bigger pot. I could just try to pot them, I suppose, and make them straight. But you want to cut down a little bit for the base of the leaf. Probably zoom in, maybe. Let's see. But where these kind of notches are, where you're seeing, it can grow roots out of any of those points. So I'm just going to cut it off a little bit below the leaf. If need be, you can always take off a leaf. It's going to get in there, but then you want to make sure that the base of this gets in the water. So I may or may not have enough water in here. I may have to add more, but just make sure that that always stays in the water. Again, as the week goes on, water evaporates, and it's going to go, start going down. So you can always make sure that you're looking at your plant to make sure that that's in the water. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one. And then I'll end up transplanting those once they get roots, probably into a bigger pot. And I can use a smaller pot for some more of those other vine-like plants. Again, I don't know what kind those are. Those are ones that we got in a funeral basket type thing. So once they have roots too, then I can put them in the pot and I can grow, make it so it grows up straighter. But for now, we just need some roots on there. So we'll put those in there together. Sure I will. Sit in there. So they don't fall out. That's all that matters. So I think I'm just going to let this one go for now. See if I'm going to get any growths out of there or not. If you like my fork in there, that's what I was using to help keep them upright so they weren't falling over because I was out of plant sticks. But that one's starting to bud out a little bit. I'll show you one of my other ones. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see in this one. These two also, I believe I took cuttings of and I threw them in here into the bigger pot. I also took a cutting of my vine and did this. My vine needs to really be redone because I've got a whole lot of stick parts and no leaves. But if we peek in here, amongst my vine, this plant right here, this is a Dieffenbachia. So even planting this one in here, I had little shoots coming out of the ground. So I had my main plant, but then this one right here, you can kind of see its own stalk, is right here. And in fact, there's another little one behind it. So these are growing off. So, those two, at some point in time, you could transplant them so you have that, or in reality, I think I'm going to take this vine out of here at some point. It took a while. I put it in the ground, the same thing, I rooted it, and then I put it in here just to see if it would grow, put it around the base, kind of give this is something at its base instead of just dirt. Took a couple months, but then it finally kind of really started taking off and it's growing well. But on this plant here too, I've got another 2 Dieffenbachia growing there too. If you have dead or yellow leaves like that too, you can just see that, but just peel them off. That way also the plant that's growing gets more of the water. You don't really, the dead leaves can just be taken off. So with my, oh, I was gonna say too on this one, like I've got bamboo sticks holding this one up too, because the other day it had flopped over. Because they start to get tall, so then you need some type of a big stick. I've got some wood out in the garage I'll have to cut down so it's smaller, but put it in there. Put a big stick in there and then wrap it up so it stays upright. When I was younger, my dad, how he used to do it was, again, we talked about where those notches are. Pretty much that's where leaves are. If you take the leaf off, you're going to have a little marking there. So what you could do is you take the utility knife and you make a notch in there, like a triangular notch. You cut down a little bit, you cut out a little bit, so you take a piece of the plant out, take a baggie and tape it on here, and then you fill it with dirt, and you kind of tape it up. And then the roots would grow in that dirt. And that way then you could chop it off underneath wherever your roots are growing, and you chop it off underneath, and again you can plant that part. One day I just decided that, well, I'm going to see if it would just grow in water, because if it worked, it would work. That would be great. If not, well, so be it. And it did. It worked. And that's a heck of a lot easier than trying to put dirt in the baggie around your plant. So the other thing you have to remember after you transplant, you want to give them a good watering. Again, remember to water all around the roots, all around the plant. Make sure it gets wet on all sides. These guys too, especially don't, so you get all the roots, because the roots are going to extend out down below the surface. And as they grow, the plants like to go towards the sun. So every week too that I water them, I also give them a turn. So depending on which way they're leaning, this one's kind of leaning this way towards me, so I want to put it this way, so it's going to grow up towards the sun. So also they'll try to keep growing straight. So either at least once a week when I water, or a couple times if I'm seeing them start to, like these guys, if they really start growing and leaning, I'll make sure I'm turning it during the week. And this one I have to figure out some more on. I'll have to look up some more information. I looked it up once and it said that if the roots are too wet, the leaves will get brown. But then I feel the dirt, because again, it's winter now, I keep my house kind of warm. They're also in the window and they get sunshine every day, except today when it's cloudy. So the soil seems to dry out. And I thought, well, maybe they weren't wet enough. Like I could tell the other day too, when I had my little flower-like thing here, it was really droopy. And then I watered it and then it picked up. But I may need some type of fertilizer in the soil or something like that. So if you have any hints, let me know in the comment section below. If you've had this type of plant and you've had success with it and had it grow. Like I said, I'm usually pretty good with plants, but sometimes not. All right, seeing as I have 2 cups available yet, I'm going to plant some more plants. I like this one again too. It's just kind of unruly, kind of all over the place. It's got a little bit, these are thinner vines on here though, so I can just take a regular scissors and cut. And again, I'll just put that in some water, grow some more roots, grow some more plants. Anybody that needs some plants? So I think I keep making babies, then I have all, like I said, I have all of these plants. So there you have it. that's me and my plants. It's so funny to see some pictures from, a few years ago when I actually had a kitchen table. We used to actually eat at our kitchen table when the girls were younger. Good thing I don't particularly need it right now. It's always nice to have some plants in the house, and that's the window we have, so that's where the plants are. Let me know if you like to have plants. Do you have any plants? Do you like plants? What kind of plants do you like? Some people like the succulent plants, and they do really well with those. Those are the ones I don't do so well with. They're still growing, they're still green, they're okay. Maybe they like the company of the other plants. But as far as trying to grow those a lot, keep them small like they're supposed to be, not so much. The other plants, the bigger plants, those do pretty well. That's about it, guys. So, yeah, please tell me what your favorite plant is. I hope you're having a good day, so keep it positive and make it a great day. Bye-bye.